Alright boys, Semphis here. We got the diet video coming at you guys. So first off, I have congratulations to Matthias. I just picked you because I feel like you're a good starting point for the Discord, and hopefully you can post some of your progress here to motivate others. He was an athlete all his life, 6 years martial arts, ran track, etc., etc. So he's just trying to get a little bit leaner, a little bit more muscular. So I feel like he's a perfect person for this. I will be doing some other videos as well on how to gain weight on one of you and maybe pick a bigger person for losing weight as well. But I think right now this is a good starting choice. So first off, I want to say that this is a lifestyle diet. This is not to become a pro athlete or bodybuilder. I will do some more advanced videos in the future. But this is to keep things simple, easy, and sustainable for the rest of your life, okay? Because the first thing you got to remember is that dieting isn't something that you should be doing for a short term. It's not something you should be doing for 3 months, hitting your goal weight, and then stopping. It's something that you need to learn to do forever. Now, obviously, you don't have to eat in a crazy deficit your whole life. But once you hit your goal weight, you shouldn't go back to eating donuts and pizza every meal and gaining all the weight back. You should try to balance your life a little bit more. Maybe you could have 2 or 3 cheat meals in a week, and you'd be happy with that. But at the end of the day, we're trying to make like good choices to be healthier long term, and in turn should help us be better gamers as well. So first off, we're going to take his stats, which I've already plugged in here. I'll be posting all of these things in the YouTube description. I also have some programs here that I'll be giving you guys, which you owe me for because they took a long time to make. So first off, we got his age, 33, weight, 197, 5'11", and then right here, first off, I should quickly say that these calculators are not exact. They're not perfect. They're very likely to be wrong, but they give you a good estimate of where your starting point should be. So basically all you want to do is be honest with it. Like, are you going to do little to no exercise? Are you sitting at home and you're just going to eat, you're just going to lose weight just by like sitting there and controlling your calories? That's fine if you want to. I, always advocate for exercising, but, at the end of the day, losing weight is better than not losing weight. So let's say you're going to just do 4 workouts a week. Calculate, it's going to give you your maintenance calories, 2642. Now, from here, we want to decide how much weight we want to lose per week. So, if you're someone that's very heavy, maybe 300 plus pounds, you can stand to lose more body fat per week. You could lose maybe 3 or 4 pounds a week versus a 110 pound woman that's goal weight is 105 pounds. She only has 5 pounds to lose. She's going to feel very bad losing 4 pounds in a week. That's a large percentage of her body weight. So the smaller you are, the slower you should lose weight. The bigger you are, the faster you can lose it. A 400-pound person can probably lose 4 pounds a week by just cutting out soda. Just straight up, that's all. So just to put it in perspective, so just keep that in mind when picking your weight. And then your time frame. The faster you go, the harder it's going to be. So if you're 200 pounds and you want to lose 4 pounds a week, can you do it? Sure, it's possible. You're not going to die, but it's not going to be super healthy, and it's going to be very hard to sustain, and you're going to be more likely to binge and break. So I advocate, around half a pound to a pound a week is good. 2 on the upper end, if you're trying to get ready for summer or a wedding or something, I think 2 is fine. But that's I wouldn't go too much past 2 personally. Now, so for this example, we're just going to go with 1 pound. Sorry. 1 pound a week. So 1 pound a week is 500 calorie deficit a day. So that would be 2642. They basically did it for you, 2114. Anyways, so mine is 500 calories from your maintenance calories. That puts you at 1 pound a week. Now, are you the type of person that's going to eat the same kind of calories every day and you're going to be fine and you don't really need a cheat meal? Great, you can do that. Most people want a cheat meal every day. I find most people are not robots. It's very unlikely that people are not ever going to want to have a birthday meal with their friends or something like that. So it's always good to give people 1 meal a week. So if your goal is to still lose 1 pound a week, I would actually account for 700 to 750 calories a day deficit. So instead of going 2642 minus 500, which would put you at, 2142. We would minus an extra 200 off that, put you 1942. It's going to be a little harder. I actually prefer to not have the cheat meal, but I'm very disciplined now, and when I first started, I did do the cheat meal. I'm just saying, so I would rather just eat a little bit more food every day. Personally, I find it a little bit easier, but again, most people want the cheat meal. So now to explain how the cheat meal works, you took 200 calories and you now have 1,400 calories for your cheat meal. So just because you get a cheat meal doesn't mean that you get to go and have a large pizza, 2 Big Macs, and large fries, and a Ben & Jerry's, okay? That will ruin your progress. Some people have this idea that you can just go and have a free day, free cheat meal. No, it will definitely hurt you. The people that get away with that are starving themselves throughout the week. So they're usually unintentionally accounting for it. So be smart and plan your week properly. So just be honest with yourself and just calculate it. So if you're someone that's going to have which is why a lot of times the 1,000 calorie deficit works really well. So you go 2,600 minus 1,000. 2,600 minus 1,000 puts you around 1,600, right? Now, this is really low calories, and this usually has people break. But the nice thing is, since you have 2 pounds to lose in a week doing this, it's more likely that the cheat meal that you go crazy on doesn't hurt you as much. So we're trying to be reasonable and doing this long term. So while I definitely think having a cheat meal is fine, don't starve yourself to the brink that you just have to binge, because it's just going to create a bad relationship with food, and it's going to make it a lot harder for you to just become more healthy long term, right? So anyways, we got that out of the way. So we got this 2642 number. You don't have to use the macro calculator, but I just find it's kind of useful. You can just take your fat loss calories. I'm just going to use whatever they gave me. Plug that in here. You can use these if you want. I don't really care about them. I'm just using the percentages. So here, the way that I like to set up my diet is I have a training day diet. So the day that I go to the gym, the carbs are a little bit higher, and the fats are a little bit lower. And the days that I don't go to the gym, which I don't count cardio as going to the gym, just so you know. So any day you're just doing cardio, no weights, I keep the fats a bit higher and the carbs a little bit lower. Protein always stays constant. Now, you don't have to do it this way. You don't have to have high protein. You can just do calories in, calories out. But from my experience, calories in versus calories out, it's less efficient. I do think you lose a little bit less fat. The body composition doesn't look as good in the end. And cravings are a lot higher. Proteining is very satiating. A lot of people might think fats are the most satiating food. Fats definitely slow digestion. But protein, if you think about it, a big chicken breast might be 200 calories, and it's big. It fills your stomach up. You eat a big chicken salad, it's a big amount of food. You eat 200 calories of peanut butter, it's like a big tablespoon of peanut butter, right? So it's just think about it in this, what's going to fill your stomach up. Generally, protein is your best bet, and it's also really good for you, and it's very hard for your body to store protein as body fat. Some people will get mad at me saying that, but you can test it yourself. Just keep upping your lean protein, and oftentimes you won't even start gaining fat. You could literally add an extra 300 calories of just chicken breast, which is kind of boring, that's why people don't get fat eating protein, obviously steaks and salmon and stuff, sure, but eating very lean sources of protein there isn't super fun, so that's why people don't do it, right? But in saying that, I like the 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Some people do the 0.8. I think 1 is good, even up to 1.25. The more, when you're dieting, the higher the protein, the better, in my opinion. There's not really a negative to it. So in here, we'll just put the percentages. So let's say a day that you're not going to the gym. What would you do? So you could put your calories like this: 25% carbohydrates, 40% protein, 35% fat. You calculate it. It's going to be 132 grams of carbs, 82 grams of fat, and 211 grams of protein. Now this is where you have to learn like how many meals are you going to do, how are you going to split that up. So right here I have my thing I use for like coaching and stuff. So this would be a rest day. So you could do 50 protein. We'll just do 4 meals, just to do it. 20 fat, 20 fat, 20 fat, 20 fat. And then what was the carbs? 35, 35, 35, 35. And that would... All right, so we need a little bit more carbs, actually. So I guess we could do 50 for the first meal. Oh, it just didn't go. Okay. Yeah, so that's good. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Like, I don't think your body's even going to notice, oh, he ate less carbs. Like, this is your first week. You don't need to be super exact with anything. Just kind of get an average calorie count, and it should be good. So you got 200 grams of protein. That's about 1 gram per pound of body weight for him. 140 carbs, and then 80 grams of fat. So decent amount of fat on this day. Fats are definitely beneficial for you, especially for hormone production while dieting. More important for women than for men. But at the end of the day, important for both. The reason I like this diet, by the way, is because it allows you to have lower fats on your training days while still keeping fats high on your non-training days. So you're never going too low in the fats, because I'll show you what I'm going to do is on the actual day you go to the gym. So this is just the rest day, just purely rest day. So if you want to do cardio on this day, you definitely can, but you're not adding carbohydrates just because you did cardio. Okay? So we're going to go here. We're going to bump this number up to 30, 40%. Bump this one, or 45, and yeah, so we'll do that. We'll do, so protein will be about 200 still, 240 carbs, 35 fats, and then we will go back to the program, and we'll plug these numbers in. So the protein, like I said, just stays kind of constant. And will you lose weight? I would just leave the protein the same. I wouldn't reduce like if you weigh 200 pounds and then you go down to 180, I would just leave it at 200 and just keep teetering the carbs down, and eventually the fats, then the carbs, and then the fats. And I would just leave the protein personally. Unless you're very large, like 300 pounds, then of course you might want to scale the protein down a bit once you start hitting 250, 200. But for someone in kind of in the middle range, I would just leave it high, especially if it's working. If you're not hungry, just leave it. Like I said, it's really hard for the body to store lean protein, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. So then we could do something like this. Pre-workout meal. The reason I put pre-workout meal is because you don't know when you're always going to train in the day. So this is the meal you're going to eat before the gym. And this is the meal you're going to eat after the gym. Sorry, we're going to quickly make sure. So carbs, 240, fat, 35, protein. Okay, sorry, we're just going to make sure I got all this right. So we can actually go a little bit higher than on this one. And yeah, close enough. So, or alternatively, you could put like 20 carbs intra-workout if you want and leave this a little bit lower. If you're getting hungry, I don't prefer the intra-workout, but the science does show having about 25 carbs of a sugary drink, carb powder during training is beneficial for performance. So that one's up to you. If you're really hungry all the time, maybe take it out. But if you're not finding yourself that hungry, maybe move a little bit of carbs to your intra-workout. And then basically you could set up your fats like this. So your pre-workout meal could be something like oats, protein powder, maybe banana, and a little bit of peanut butter or almond butter or something. So a little bit of fats in there just to kind of keep you from being depleted while you work out, keep the carbohydrates and your glucose in your bloodstream a little bit more stable rather than just like kind of crashing, because sometimes when you're dieting, the carbs can start going through you really fast. But again, you don't have to have fats in your pre or post workout meal. They're not necessary. I really don't like fats in the post workout meal. I'd prefer to just have this more just carbs and protein. Now, this is what I always tell people. Post workout is your time to have fun. Okay, so if you're getting a sweet tooth, cravings, this is where you can have the flavored rice cakes, the caramel rice cakes. You can have cereal, Lucky Charms. Any cereal under 3 grams of fat per serving is fine. I find corn pops, Lucky Charms, Fruit Loops, anything like that. Yes, they're not healthy for you, but I'm just saying, like, if you really crave something, here's the time to put it in. Obviously, chicken, rice, and some pineapples would be like the better choice. But for the sense of like lifestyle and making sure people can stay happy and consistent, I find cereal works for a lot of people. I love cereal. A lot of the people I've coached like cereal. You can get chocolate Rice Krispies. It's just rice and a little bit of sugar. It's not that bad if you think about it. And your body is primed to absorb those sugars after you're done weight training. So you're actually making use of them to replenish your glycogen stores quicker. Your body can uptake more glycogen from multiple sources after you work out, opposed to when you're just like normally in the day, right? So then we got the next 2 meals, and you're just going to have to, lower the carbs a little bit, and then you get a little bit more fats. And that's how I would set up my day. So that's 4 meals. This meal, if you do like a shake and cereal, it's not even really a meal, like you can get that down in like 1 second. So it's more like 3 meals. Although I will say, just for people that are having trouble with hunger, if you are getting very hungry dieting, don't have a lot of shakes. Eat real food. A chicken breast, even though it's less fun, it might not taste good as having, a chocolate protein shake or something, is going to keep you full for longer. So always try to figure out where the best times are for you to be hungry, when you're hungriest in the day, when you're least hungry. So for example, let's say you get really hungry at night. This is just how I would set up a diet, by the way. But I'm just going to go over a couple things for you guys. So let's say, man, I don't care about breakfast at all. Okay, maybe you just have some protein, and maybe you have like a little bit of fats. And then you get really hungry at night. Maybe you put 60 grams of carbs here and 30 grams of fat here. And that way it's the same total calories-ish. Or this would be 70, sorry. Bad at math. But you can move them around, or like you get really hungry middle of the day. Like I'm just using an example here. Just like this, like let's say you're really hungry in the evening. Maybe this one's a little bit smaller. You put more carbohydrates there. Maybe you really love fats for some reason. I don't really love fats. So you could take this out and put it at the end of your day. Like you don't have to do it this way. I just find like the way I originally set up makes the most sense, like logically. But at the end of the day, you want to try to figure out when you're the hungriest or least hungry and kind of play around with that. So another trick is if you have a lot of time, if you're a busy person, this is harder. But your pre-workout meal, let's say you're really hungry and you're dieting and it's really hard for you. You eat your pre-workout meal and you wait an hour and a half, 2 hours before you go to the gym. You go to the gym, now you've 2 hours since you've eaten, you do your workout. Let's say it takes an hour, hour and a half, 3.5 hours. Then you chat with the chick at the front desk for 30 minutes, and then you walk home. You could kill like 4 hours of your day, almost 5 hours, where you won't really like be thinking about food. Because I find when you're busy doing things like working out, especially, the blood kind of goes away from your stomach and into your muscles, and you don't really feel like as hungry as much. So that's kind of like the benefit of that. So that's how I would set up the calories. And I'm just trying to go over this kind of quickly for you guys to keep attention. So if you have questions, you can always ask in the Discord. But so that's how I would set up the base diet. Now, like I said, this is 4 meals. You can do 3. You can do 2 meals if you want. You can do intermittent fasting. You could do just 2 meals and put all your calories in 2. It's fine as long as you're taking into account the total calories. If If you hate protein and want to do all carbs and fat, you be my guest. But just realize that you're going to be the least hungry keeping your protein high, and you're going to look the best when you're done dieting, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, here's where the money is. This is my program. I created this. It took forever. Shout out to my girlfriend who helped me make this. This is the whole system, okay? Once you've created your calories, you're going to this. I will give you a download link in the description. You go here, and if you eat off of these food lists, you will have 100% success, 100% success. You will have no issues losing weight. Now, the way that I do things is I do not count the fat and little bit of fiber and stuff as the calories from, say, chicken breast. Let's say a chicken breast says it has 3 grams of fat per 100 grams on the back of the package. The next package might say it has 1 gram. The next package might say it has 5. Chicken breast is not created in a laboratory. There's not scientists synthesizing your chicken breast. Just like humans, you go out on the street, there's fat humans, there's skinny humans, there's muscular humans. If you just started like eating human meat, the fat content of each piece of meat would be wildly different, and it's no different when it comes to animals. So just because something says it's 4 grams of fat, you don't really know. It's an average, and obviously chicken breast is lean. Egg whites does have 0 fat pretty much. Like that and fish, like white fish, are pretty good for that. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just saying, like, just because it says something doesn't necessarily mean it's like perfect. So we want to remove the random variables that don't really matter and just ignore them. Because like I said, we're always going to be eating the same amount of protein. If you start at 200 pounds and you diet to 160 pounds, I prefer to just keep your protein at 200. If you want to lower it to 180, that's fine. But my point is, those sources that you're eating on a daily basis should be relatively similar throughout the week. So you're going to pick the ones you like. Whether you think you do want to do this or not, eventually you'll fall in a habit of eating very similar foods. You're going to be like, breakfast, you like eggs, then maybe lunch, you do chicken, and then maybe you do beef for dinner. Maybe you spice it up and you do turkey one day, or salmon or something every once in a while. But for the most part, there's not that many lean protein options anyways. So just ignore the little bit of fats, and that's kind of why my diets are a little bit lower in fats in general. So once and when you're moving the calories, you're from the diet, like from here, for example, when you lower the fats from this to 7, from this to 10, that's the added fat. That's stuff you're adding, like guacamole. That's stuff like almond butter. So that's going to be able to regulate your calories going down, since the meat sources are very consistent. And this, a lot of top-level coaches in bodybuilding use this. I've used this for 4 years. It's awesome because you don't have to think and count all these little stupid macros from like, oh, there's 2 grams of fat in oatmeal. Just turn your brain off and forget about it. Just trust me on this one, okay? If you want to count them all, be my guest, but just it's not going to matter in the long term. In the very short term, sure, it might matter in the first week or two, but after that, you get dialed in, it's going to have very little effect. So we have this program that I'm going to give you guys, and I'm going to show you guys how it works. So you pick from the greens, okay? All of these sauces, you want to learn to make your food taste good. You like sriracha, you like salsa, you want to use the artificial sweeteners, the Flavor God seasonings. I know people like that. 0-calorie drinks are awesome. Diet Cokes. I always got a Diet Coke. If you follow me, this stuff's like just makes dieting so easy. If cancer's happening, I'll let you guys know pretty soon here. Anyways, so you're going to go through the list and you pick your protein source, right? So you go down to proteins and you pick it. Now here, when it says use occasionally, what I mean by that is maybe once or twice a week you can have some of this. So maybe Fridays you can have flank steak, maybe Monday you have salmon. Great, cool. Just don't do these every day. Whey protein, you can use whey protein. Like I said, you could use whey protein every day if you want. But my main thing is it's not very filling. It's better used in the off season when you're trying to push a lot of food. If you want to use a little bit of protein powder to flavor your oats or something, totally fine. I'll show you guys a couple different ways you can make cool pastes and puddings. You can make ice cream with it. So I definitely get the purpose of it. I'm just saying, like, you're gonna you're gonna feel a lot better if you stick to the greens in terms of hunger. Now, if you're someone that doesn't get hungry, then I guess that's irrelevant to you. Also, whole food is generally better than powders. So then you're going to go down and pick your fat source. So let's just say you pick chicken breast. So you type right in the 0 column here, grams quantity. You just plug in the number until it tells you what you want. So I know it's a little backwards, but it's the only way to really do this. So 220 grams of chicken breast is 50 grams of protein. Right? So bam, you got that. Then you're going to go down here to avocado. So let's say you're going to do 20 grams of fat. Now, instead of avocado, I like guacamole because you can buy the little cups. But let's say you just do some guacamole. So you put in like 130 grams. Okay, so 130 grams is about 19.5 grams of fat, close enough for me. I'm not that anal about some other stuff. But yeah, so we're going to do that, and then let me quickly go look at his other meals. So 50 protein and 20 fats, and then 35 carbs. So what would I do for the carbs? Well, are you someone that gets really hungry? Then I might actually pick something like maybe potatoes, sweet potatoes, normal potatoes. I'm not a huge fan of brown rice, but white rice isn't going to fill you up as much. But yeah, maybe you do like 50 grams. Okay, so 40 grams. It'll probably be like 40 grams, 45 grams of white rice. This is uncooked measurement is 36 carbs. So then you have your meal right here. You scroll down. It pumps out the numbers. 19.5 fat, 36 carbs, 50.6 protein. Close enough. Total calories, 521 for the meal. Does it all for you. Great, cool. Now, we got some other things here to go over the list. We got vegetables. Use these as much as you want. We don't count veggies. There's no counting. You just want to throw a bunch of asparagus in there. You want to throw a bunch of mushrooms in there. Some peppers, great. Have fun. I don't care. These ones, be a little bit more careful with because the calories can add up. There's some sugar in carrots, for example. Peas can be higher in calories. There is some protein in there, though. These sugar sources are for the high carb days that I'll go over in a different video. This is more for my clients than you guys, unless you want to try that as well. And then over here on the carbs, any of these are good. I will say if you're dieting and on low carbs, oats are really good. Potatoes are really good. Rice and cream of rice get a little bit iffy just because they're not that much volume. Although cream of rice, if you keep adding water to it, you can kind of make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, bagels. If you want to use bagels every once in a while, it's fine. If you want to have a pasta meal every week, that's fine. Just try not to use these sources every time. I just find they cause digestive issues in a lot of people, especially pasta. If people eat a lot of pasta, you can buy the rice pasta if you want. That's made out of rice and quinoa. That's fine. Any bread you buy, just make sure you're looking at the back of the package. There's nothing inherently wrong with bread. You can use sourdough bread if you'd like. But just make sure you're looking at the back and making sure the macros add up. Under fats, like I said, I find things like almonds and stuff are kind of bad choices just because you don't get a lot of them. So I actually prefer almond butter. Almond butter's awesome. Guacamole is probably the most volume you're going to get. Avocado, etc. Dark chocolate, 90-10, 85% or 90%. You can use that if you'd like. If you just really have a chocolate craving. Originally, it's not going to taste very good, but the longer your diet and the more your cravings get, you're going to start liking it a little bit more. It's also really good if you want to make yogurt and you put a little bit of fruit, put a little bit of granola, put a little bit of dark chocolate in there. It's pretty good. So, yeah, so that's kind of my program that if you stick to these foods, you're going to be good. So that's all I'm saying. And the nice thing is you can just pick and choose what you want to make, right? So if one day you're feeling chicken breast, turkey breast, maybe you're just having a bad day and you're like, screw it, I feel like salmon. Just make sure when you're buying the salmon that you're getting like the salmon that's not like farm salmon that's like 30 grams of fat per serving. You got to be careful about that. And if you live in European countries like Germany, Poland, I don't know all the countries that have it. If you live in America, unfortunately, us Canadians get screwed on this. Man, 96 4-ground beef, 95 5% beef. Eat this every day if you have it, man. Like, you can make burgers with this. You can make so many good choices with this beef, and it's awesome. I think red meat is probably the best superfood you can eat. I recently saw a study that, they kind of paid off scientists to demonize saturated fats. Not a surprise there. So saturated fats in high quantities, definitely not good. But, eating a little bit of 95 5-ground beef every day, you're going to be fine. In fact, your body does want a little bit of saturated fats every day. So yeah, use this program to create your diet, find your calories, and then create your two plans. So like I was saying, have your training day and then have your rest day. And the way that I try to do it is like the day, I really love cereal. So I like Fruit Loops and stuff. So if I'm dieting, the training day, I'm like looking forward to it because I can like have Fruit Loops after the gym. Like I'm like, yes, I get my meal, or I can have a bunch of fruit. Like I love fruit and honey, for example. Rest days, I don't enjoy them as much. I'm not as much of a fat guy. I don't have a gallbladder, so I don't really like fats that much as it is. I'm a carb guy, so rest days are always a little bit harder for me. Although I'm eating a ton of food right now, so it's not really an issue. But yeah, this is how I would set up my diet. I hope it's not too confusing. If it is, let me know, and I will remake this video for you guys, because it's very hard to get all my thoughts into one concise place. And then I will be going over a couple more videos on training, like how to design your program. I'll give you some example programs, how much cardio should do, how little cardio should you do. I'll just say for the people that are getting started, do whatever you want in the gym. Go 3-4 days a week if you can, minimum. Cardio every day. What I really like people to do is to get a step tracker app on your phone. So what you do is you just get a step tracker app and then try to get a minimum of 4,000 steps in the week and just see how that goes. That's all you have to do. Just get 4,000 steps. So that's like take the dog for a walk in the morning. Park at the end of the parking lot if you live if you're going to school. Walk to school if you can. Walk to the grocery store. Park. Walk from one class to the next instead of driving if you live on if you go to university or something. There's a lot of little ways that you can get extra steps in, and over time, you'll just naturally do these things without thinking about them. You'll be like, I got to pop down to the store. You'll just walk there. It's 8 minutes away. That's 16 minutes of walking that you did without really thinking about it. That'll just help you stay in better shape year-round, because a lot of the calories we burn are not when we're actually exercising. You actually burn a very little amount of calories exercising compared to just living. So if you can get up and move more and be more active in your everyday life, that's going to help you more than like being super like religious about doing cardio every morning, because most people are not going to do cardio for their whole life. Most people are not going to be doing 30 minutes on a treadmill for the rest of their life for the next 40 years. How many people do you know that do that, right? So it's like it's better to get in these good habits. Go for a walk at a park with your mom or your girlfriend or your bros. Go get a coffee or a tea. Go have some just walk your dog. So there's all those little things you can do. So just try to make better choices and get a better rhythm. And then when it actually comes to cardio, that really comes down to like how much are you trying to lose versus expenditure versus food. So what I like to do is set the base diet, don't do any crazy amount of cardio, and kind of see where you're at. And then if you need to burn a little bit more calories to get the scale moving, you can always throw in 20 minutes of cardio, maybe 3 or 4 days a week to start. In instead of lowering the food, because you want to try to keep the food as high as possible for as long as possible. You don't want to be the person eating 0 grams of carbs every day. You know, sometimes you have to. Sometimes you got to. When I did my bodybuilding show, my coach had me on 0 fat, 0 carbs, and only protein for 3 weeks straight, and it was miserable. It's the worst I've ever felt in my entire life. Obviously, there's a little bit of fats in protein, but Jesus, that was not fun. So, yeah, obviously you guys have seen I've been fat, skinny, jacked, blah, blah. Like, I've been all body shape, so I know I've done all this stuff before. And all I'm going to say is you can do it. I'm not special. No one's special. You just have to put your mind to it and actually commit to it and get in a pattern. It's going to be hard at the start. Your body's not going to like you. You might even feel gross. You might feel sick. That's normal. Your bacteria in your stomach is used to eating sugar. It's used to eating pizza, fries, full sugar, sodas, coffees, ice cream. And those bacteria are going to get mad at you. And more research is showing that there is a link between the brain and the gut. So sometimes you're going to have to suffer for a little while until those bacteria kind of alter. And that's where the vegetables come in. They're going to help you stay hungry. They're going to help with your gut. You can take probiotics if you'd like. But yeah, just let me know what you think, and I'll try to help you guys out as much as I can.